Files, and I'm with Friends of Frederick County, one of the sponsoring organizations of this presentation. And Steve has been working for the last 18 months to look for alternatives to the incinerator for our county, feeling that it's more appropriate for our county's needs. And he's been working with his members of the Solid Waste Analysis Group. And he's come up with some great ideas and a plan. And he's open for questions afterwards, so I hope you'll plan to stay for some time and ask questions and get involved in a little debate. So also there's some sheets on your seat that are informational, and there's also something for the commissioners to sign and send to the commissioners should you be interested in doing so in the back, and we'll pass those out as well.
Does Steve have a last name?
Cassis. Sorry.
A few things I'd like to share. Number one is some people are getting heartburn at this point talking about an incinerator, and it's understandable why that's the case. The only thing I would like to say is if we hadn't heard the number 300 million, we would have never gotten that interest, and we wouldn't have spent 2 years doing what we did, time and energy. So that's a major thing. In other words, we're talking a big hunk of money. The second thing is we should understand that all the players in this we've got a bunch of incredible people. Number one, we've probably got as good a board of county commissioners as we've ever had. They're astute, they're alert, they're sharp, and they want to do the right thing. The other thing is, one of the things I found out in my travels, we got a pretty darn good plan. We got a bunch of really excellent people. Mike Marshner, Phil Harris, and that team, they're just incredibly dedicated and professional. So we're very lucky. We are at a point that all we need to do is decide which, what's around the bend, which road to take. Okay, lights on, and you can answer any questions.
With this alternative plan, that there are some things that can't be handled by composting, recycling, and that there would be a conversion process. Do you mean, I've heard of these closed loops processes that burn things up with electricity? Or
that's it. That's one of them. Actually, the largest one now is in St. Lucie. That's going to start 1,000 tons a day and go to 3,000 tons a day.
So that's still required and part of your alternative?
No. No, we're saying that let's not forget, with that 300 tons that we're going to have left over, if these technologies prove to be doable, there's even the possibility you could eliminate a lot of that. And this is the thing. In the past, that technology has been used. The closed loop gasification, it has been used. The problem is usually what they do it with is something that's contaminated. It doesn't burn, so what they're doing is just basically cooking it. But if you're mining or using residual from a landfill, in fact this one is going to be a landfill in St. Lucie, is what they're doing. They're mining a landfill and they're burning it. The thing of it is, if you can burn it, in other words, you have what would be considered sort of like combustion. So when you get that, you're going to get some heat, then you get the steam, then you turbine, then you generate electricity, so then you're going to bring that back to help, because you do need high electricity to make that work.
How can we seriously think about taking the easy way out and just burning all of our waste?
My husband and I have an organic farm, and our business is certified organic by the state of Maryland. And what really amazed me, we just recently opened our second store in downtown Frederick, was that there was no requirement, and I'm starting to understand after the presentation about why businesses weren't required to recycle. That just had me completely flabbergasted when I found that out, because our company, with 3 locations, generates 1 trash can load per week for our entire company.
Good work.
Why I'm saying that is that we're part of an industry that has been growing 30% a year, and there are people out there looking. When I see this organic waste material, I'm thinking, okay, we get a bagging facility, we start bagging that stuff up. Do you know how much, of course you guys probably do, people pay for organic compost for their gardens and their yards. I mean, this could be a hugely profitable center right there. I mean, my wheels are already turning about what we can do. And one more thing. This thing about Congress passing bills to fund people, to give corporate welfare to companies, to, let's give them money as an incentive. That's backwards, okay? We need to penalize people for not recycling instead of giving them money to beg them to come on board. And that's why I like the pay-as-you-go. I think if we, and not having it be on their taxes, but monthly, have homeowners, residential people here, getting charged. Okay, I see these people, these houses with 4 cans lined up out front. Okay, let's make them pay. Make them pay right up. I'm guaranteeing you, if you start hitting people right off monthly, okay, they're going to snap to it and say, whoa, what do I need to do?
No question. And that's why it's going to make that a viable, in other words, makes your recycling program really viable. But it also guarantees more of that volume you need, plus if the education program is proper and adequate, you'll be getting a better grade too to go to your MRF.
What is the authority? What is the Beck report? Who hired the people that want us to build this incinerator, and do they live here?
The incinerator, the Beck report was done, was requested by the authority, which we are members, rather than go into a long description. What it is, the authority consists of the 8 counties and Frederick City. And we were actually, to get the synergy and the expertise at one place with people who are our experts, it really made a lot of sense. The only problem is we didn't ask for enough when we went to the authority and said, in other words, we got a problem, we need help. So what happened, we got focused on one technique, and this was the incinerator, rather than looking at taking the whole thing. That was part of that was our problem. We were dealing with one specific aspect, so what we asked them for probably could say, well, the Beck report produced that. But what we're saying is, hey, go way beyond that. If you're talking about spending that kind of dough, hey, let's fund a total waste shed audit along with designing an alternative plan. And that's what this is basically all about.
So you're telling us that there was not an alternatives analysis done by the county in the first place?
No,
about how
but
to handle our solid waste?
there really wasn't, but that was, and unfortunately, we didn't ask for that, and that's what should have happened. But this, in other words, it's not that unusual.
Talking about like cost and dollars and all this, is the goal for this waste management eventually for the county to make a profit? Or I mean, it seems like if we're doing this and they break even, or even if we lose some money, but the end result is a waste management that is not potentially hazardous to our health and our environment and our neighborhoods, I think we would be more motivated to pay money and lose money that way than to pay money and lose money because they're not shipping in enough stuff to burn.
Good point. In other words, a lot of people say, okay, we know, it's just like trash. You don't make money on trash just like your water and sewer. In other words, it's part of the infrastructure, you got to have it. So you pay for trash and everybody's satisfied. A lot of people thought, well, if we recycle, we make money. No, what happens is you lessen the bill by handling if you take out those and recover those. But you're onto something here. In other words, right now it's costing us $2 million. Let's just say today we're going to spend $2 million. We're going to spend $2 million on our recycling program. Okay, we're not getting anything back. Last year, the recycling program, we got a kickback of $184,000. This year, we're not going to get anything. Next year, we probably will be able to get a little bit. But what we're saying is, okay, look, that $2 million. For that $2 million that we're losing, that it costs to do that, if we had that material recovery facility, that MRF, and we operated ourselves, instead of having someone else do that and taking a very small cut of it, we would be taking a much bigger piece of the pie. We would also be controlling it. So on a facility that size, you're probably talking about virtually paying for, let's say it costs $15 million to produce that MRF that processes at that level. In other words, would satisfy our needs. In probably 12 to 20 years, you could virtually pay for that. It would be paid for with the profit that you make off selling. Is there anybody else that has a question? I'll be sure we ask everybody.
I've got an observation. If any politician that I vote for spends $350 million of my money on this without hearing both sides,
This guy's on to something. I want to hear this.
I'm just saying, any politician I vote for who's going to spend $350 million of my money needs to look at both sides before they commit. And if they don't,